Hello, welcome back to Talking Wanderers. Today with me is Mark Isles, and we'll be talking about the excellent draw with Arsenal on Wednesday night and looking back at the transfer window action. Well, Mark, one defeat in 8. Mm-hmm. What's happening to your team?
They're improving is what's happening. I mean, you look at the run they had, the fixtures they had after New Year. And, you know, even the most optimistic fan, myself, anything, looked and thought, well, if we're still there or thereabouts, you know, in touch, but still in the bottom 3, we'll have done well. But better than that, the performances have just grown and grown and grown, you know, resulting in a fantastic win over Liverpool, great performance against Arsenal. And now, you know, the feeling around the club is just so different.
It was a solid one, wasn't it? I mean, 0-0 against Arsenal. It's just what they needed in the early stages of the season. A draw against anybody really when they're going through that bad patch, but a draw and a solid performance against Arsenal, you know, there's lots to be encouraged about, isn't there, from that? And as you said, the second half performance was more than just that. Yeah,
exactly. I think they could have beaten Arsenal. Yeah. You know, especially towards the end, the last 20 minutes was as good as I've seen from Bolton all season. I think they've found that level. They've found the formation that seems to suit. It's protecting the back 4 enough so that, you know, the footballers can play. I mean, Mark Davis has been given a bit of a freedom to go and attack. David Ngo's doing really well up front on his own as well. It's all just falling into place, and players have come back from injury. There's a bit more competition there now. You know, everything we were moaning about earlier in the season has suddenly just sort of drifted away, and you know, the decisions don't seem to be going against us. The odd bit of luck here and there, which they did have against Arsenal, you know, the ball came off the post and off the bar, you know, you can't deny that, but they deserve it because they're making their own luck at the minute.
Of course, and Adam Bogdan, he's come in, he's doing well. What's the situation between him and Jussi at the moment?
Well, I mean, Jussi's back fit, and you know, it was a conscious decision against Arsenal for Owen to give him a vote of confidence, give Adam a vote of confidence, and you can't argue we've got two good keepers on our hands now. There's not a slight difference really in terms of form. I mean, Jussi has got such experience. Maybe looking long term, I'd imagine him to play more games before the end of the season. But you can't say that Adam doesn't deserve his running the team.
Yeah. So one defeat in 8 now. Things are looking good. Obviously, you still got to look over your shoulder. 4th bottom. Looking this week against Norwich, it's the sort of game that you've got to compete in, isn't it? Obviously, they lost the reverse fixture. How do you see this week's game going?
Well, I think the one thing I will say about the first fixture, had Ivan Klasnic not lost his head completely just before half time and got sent off, it would have been a very different game because you know, God only knows what was going on in his head right then. But no, I think these are the ones that maybe they've struggled a little bit with. The favourite tag. I think they've got to take those performances against Liverpool and Arsenal, and it's more about the tempo. And even in the FA Cup against Swansea, the tempo wasn't quite there, and I think they have struggled with that. And they've got to replicate what they did against Arsenal. It's easy saying that here, sat on a table and doing nothing, but it's really, Bolton are at their best when they're really at everybody's throats and playing at a high tempo level.
Now, there's a busy day for you on Tuesday. You were doing the blog there, super blog, all about transfer deadline day involving Wanderers, right up to the death. One night, a few people in, one person who stayed, Kevin Davis. Sunderland wanted him, Bolton have kept him. Although he's not in the team at the moment, it was a nice little boost to keep hold of him, wasn't it?
I think so. I think there was a little bit of speculation as to whether or not Owen Coyle wanted him to leave before the deadline, but then I think he stamped that out, and I think he made his case very, very clear in the final week that he wanted his skipper to stay. Yeah. Now Sunderland did try and test the water. Everything, you know, was above board on that. O'Neill contacted him, made a bid of, we think, £250,000, but Coyle stuck to his guns, and I think he really does believe that Kevin Davis can play a part in the future of this football club. The attitude's got to be right, and you know, everything's got to fall into place. But you know, he's not a spent force. He's got a future.
Absolutely, and what a good player he's been. Back to the future. Some young players came in. Marvin Sordell. They tried to get Wilfried Zaha from Palace. They got Marvin Sordell. He's certainly looking at. You can see it now. Tangible evidence of looking to the future.
Yeah, exactly. He's looking for young, hungry players. They'd already recruited Tim Ream, who's 24, but only two years into his professional career, really. They've signed Rio Miyachi on loan from Arsenal as well. Yeah. But Marvin Sordell's the big one. A couple of deals broke down on transfer deadline day. We know about Zaha. We know about Reece Williams as well at Middlesbrough. The problem is, in January it's a seller's market, isn't it? And if your club doesn't want to sell, it's very difficult to decide, to get that happening on one day, the final day of the transfer deadline. But Sordell happened, and as you say, he's the blueprint now. It's a player with lots to prove, but he can do that at Bolton.
And we've got the Far East media community back in town. Yeah. We've had the South Koreans for some time, and now we've got the Japanese. Rio Miyachi.
Yep, they're absolutely great. I love them. When Nakata was here, we had some great fun. Yeah. They follow the players around, and it's just fantastic. We have to build a special row in front of the regular press box because they are so into the football and watches every move. Lots there to see Rio's arrival last night, and he's going to be an exciting player. He's somebody different on that right hand side to Chris Eagles. Chris Eagles is such a good athlete. He puts everything in. He's got a lot of quality about him, but perhaps not the pace. The difference is with Rio, he's got that burst of pace, and again, he's got something to prove.
Does he play? Where does he play? On the right?
On the right-hand side, yeah. I'm led to believe he can play anywhere across the front, but certainly we saw him earlier in the season in the Carling Cup against Bolton, and he played on the right-hand side.
Well, it's great to talk about better times. Well, thanks very much to Mark Isles. Join us again next week for the next edition of Talking Wanderers.